The collapse is quietly starting. We're going to take a look at some articles and also some data specific to our Utah housing market. Layoffs hit Amazon, UPS, Target, and more, but it has little to do with AI. Now, they keep telling us that these layoffs are because of AI. Now, if that is true, it still means that people are not going to have a job that otherwise would have had a job, and they're not going to have money to be able to spend in a consumer-based economy, which we are in America. Now, again, little to do with AI. And I do got our data back here. I have that back. So I was able to get that fixed, calling the board of realtors, the MLS department. Their developer got into the system and got that fixed. So we'll take a look what's going on with our data specific here to Utah. But I first want to share some articles. Now we see that these layoffs are hitting. And right here, if we take a look, UPS cuts 48,000 jobs in the year to date, and its turnaround continues. So they're not even done with all of their layoffs. Now, Amazon, when we come back here, Amazon announces the largest layoff in company history. Well, what are they seeing? And if their earnings are good, why are they cutting so much jobs? Well, so many jobs. Well, the reason is that they probably see something else coming. And that could be the fact that US printed $1 trillion, the most outside of the pandemic, fastest ever accumulation of $1 trillion to the national deficit this year. And Biden did it last year, Trump's doing it this year. So it seems we're breaking bad records all the time. Now, remember that regional banks, a growing concern of sour loans on Wall Street, and there's been some more here happening. Rise of shadow banking brings a financial risk. We're seeing that finances are getting tighter. U.S. car repossessions surge as more Americans default on auto loans. We see that right here, as a car lending market shows signs of strain. Right here at the bottom, it's highlighted. Businesses around repossession is booming right now. We're overwhelmed with work, George Baden, who runs Midwest Recovery and Adjustment in Detroit, Michigan, said. Now, you're just seeing all of this stuff that is brewing in the economy, and that is what they're seeing. They're trying to get ahead of that so that they can show that their revenues are good, so the stocks can stay elevated, because that is the last, in my opinion, that is the last domino that we need, is the stock market to show a tumble. Now, the problem has been the last 2 times that has happened, hedge funds have sold out, but the retail investor has come in and bought the dip. So now their controlled demolition, their controlled recession, it's having a hard time happening. And if we take a look over here at our specific data, we're seeing that the number of listings entered, this blue line, is still elevated year over year. And active listings are much higher than years past. And we see that this trend is finally coming now as we're heading toward the holiday seasons. Toward the holiday season, we see that inventory is now starting to dip, and it's going to dip all the way until probably January. Usually it's until March, but remember, last year we had that big increase in inventory at the beginning of the year. And I have been able to get buyers great deals. 3 buyers in specific last month in October. I had the listing agents on 3 of them tell me, I don't think that the seller is going to go any further. I think that your counter is going to kill the deal. And we got the seller to accept the offer. That was on 3 of them. And one of the agents actually congratulated me, saying, wow, you got the buyer an amazing deal. They should be very happy with what you were able to do for them. And then I had a seller today tell me we're going to close here on Friday. And what I'll do is I'll actually screenshot these, and I'll kind of go over them in the next video. The seller said, wow, you were right on the money. You said we should list at X amount, and we did. And the other ones have now dropped and we're about to close, which means they're probably not going to get that 625. Now, if we take a look here, active listings are much higher. And if you do want a great deal right now, give me a call. I've been able to negotiate great deals for a lot of buyers. I'll be able to do the same for you. And make sure you hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, that way you're notified when new videos drop. Hit that like button. It'll help this video get in front of more people so they're aware of what's going on nationwide, as well as in our local Utah housing market. And if you need a real estate agent in Utah, my contact information is down below. Give me a call. We can schedule a consultation, see if we're a good fit for one another. And let's get back to the data. So right here, we're seeing that the under contracts are negative year over year. So we're seeing that number of listings entered continues to stay elevated. And right here, we see there was almost 1,000 more units in April listed than the year previously. And in March, there actually was 8,000. So we saw a big spike in the beginning of the year, then it kind of dwindled down, and in August it was flat, but now it's picking up again. And that is happening as now we see that sales, if you look at this blue line, sales are actually now dipping year over year. Well, if inventory, or let's go back here. If the amount of listings being entered is at a higher pace and the under contracts are going negative year over year, and we see that inventory is much more elevated, and we see that the number of sold homes now is starting to decline year over year, well, that means that inventory is going to stay elevated. That means that buyers are gaining more and more leverage. And I've been able to utilize that average for multiple buyers last month. They were able to time the market and take a much better price on a home than they otherwise would have. And so we're seeing what is happening here with the data, and we're seeing what's happening as far as it comes to the economy. Layoffs are hitting. We're seeing that the 10-year, the 10 years would correlates with the 10-year treasury with the 30-year mortgage. And we see right here, there's no break for sellers and no break for the Fed, for the economy, for the government, for nobody. If you take a look here, interest rates are coming down, and every time they come down, they spike right back up. So look at this. They were coming back down towards 6, the average rate, and it spiked back up to 6.25, over 6.25. Every time they come down, every time the Fed does a Fed rate cut, the interest rates actually go back up. That is actually bad news, because why is the Fed even cutting rates at this point if it's not actually lowering interest rates? And the economy right now, the housing market, the car industry really needs these lower interest rates. And we know that the government's not open because they don't want to report the data because it's bad. ADP reported negative 32,000 jobs last month, so we'll see what they do here this week, what they report. But we see that these layoffs continue coming in. They keep ticking up. And we're seeing that. Amazon announces the largest layoff in company history, right? Mortgage rates are rebounding back upward. That's not good news. So you're going to have much more leverage here. You're seeing that nothing is favoring the sellers right now. So as I've been saying, you want to wait until the holiday season, as we're coming toward Halloween and as we're going toward Thanksgiving. Now, I have some listings. They're not getting the best amount of showings. And there is one that I want to share something, but we're going to have to wait here. And it is showing me that the market is not rebounding for the sellers. So we do have at least a couple more months. Now, of course, if they continue to can kicking, we might see an uptick February, March, April. However, are they going to be able to do that as we see that things are quietly breaking and they're trying to hide it from us? So inventory should be rising here at the beginning of the year. If unemployment is rising, layoffs are rising, I don't know if we see that uptick in the spring, right? We're seeing a lot of information that's indicating that we are heading toward that recession. We know they keep trying to kick that can. Maybe it is at the end of the road. We will find out. So if you want to buy this year, it is the best time right now. If you want to wait when you're ready. My contact information is down below. When you do need a real estate agent in Utah, give me a call and let's get you that best deal. And again, let's do our little recap here. We're seeing that layoffs are upticking. Some major companies. We're seeing that the 10-year and the 30-year mortgage is going upwards now, again, even though the Fed did a rate cut. We're seeing that we're printing. We're supposed to have a good economy these last few years. Yet, we're just adding record-breaking amount of debt to the national deficit. That is supposed to happen during wartime, during an economic downturn, not with a historically low unemployment rate. But here we are. And we're seeing the regional banks are facing a lot of issues. We see that shadow banking is something that is posing a financial risk, right? We see right here, finances are getting tighter, repossessions on cars, and the amount of homes being sold is still at a 30-year low, when the population was 40, 50 million less people in America than it is today. And we're seeing that the repo companies have an abundance of amount of business. And then we go over here to our data, number of listings being entered, continues to stay elevated. We see that the actives are much higher. They are starting to dip downwards, as I mentioned that they do, heading toward the holiday season and in the winter months. And then right here, we see that under contracts are negative year over year. And we see that the number of solds. So at the beginning of the year, we had a little less, then it was about even. Then we saw that there was more solds, more homes being sold in the middle part of the year. And now, as we're tapering toward the holidays, we're seeing negative amount of units, amount of homes being sold. So if you want the best deal, you want the best negotiator, give me a call. I'll help you do that. Make sure to hit the like button. It'll help the video get in front of more people. Hit the subscribe button so you're notified when new videos drop. And my contact information is down below.